What's up, everybody? Welcome to Mortuary Gaming, your home for horror gaming everything. Right now, I'm playing through every survival horror game released on the PlayStation 2, but we'll also be covering news and topics and anything horror related in the gaming sphere. So if that's your thing, please like and subscribe. This is a brand new channel for the most part. Everything helps, and I really appreciate y'all. At this week's PlayStation State of Play, that was the January 31st State of Play, we got 2 Silent Hill reveals. We got some gameplay for the Silent Hill 2 remake, but we also got a game release day of. That being Silent Hill: The Short Message. Some of you may remember images of this game being leaked in the summer of 2022, and now we finally got to see what those leaks were all about. And to be honest, I totally forgot about those leaks until I saw the sticky notes on the walls, and I was like, oh yeah! I remember this game. I also heard that it got canceled, but it looks like here we go. Looks like we got it. Now, the trailer I felt like had some PT vibes, and that was definitely something I saw reflected in the live stream chat. And I'll be honest, that's definitely not what I wanted. And I'm happy to report that that's really not what we got in the game itself, aside from a few elements which I believe were woven into the game in a really nice way. We got the first-person perspective, a crying baby, decrepit rooms, and a singular enemy that chases you and one-shots you. So like, yeah, all of that is there from PT, but that's pretty much all of the PT DNA that we got. It's also funny to me that Kojima was also involved in this PlayStation State of Play. So there's definitely like a bitter part of me that wonders if Kojima was somewhere like, oh yeah, that's parts of that one game that I could have made amazing and revitalized the entire Silent Hill franchise. But yeah, me, right? The game is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, at least right now, and I'm not sure if it's going to stay that way, but Silent Hill 2 is also slated to launch for the PlayStation 5, and it looks like it's going to get a PC release, but don't hold me to that, as I don't believe that's been 100% confirmed. However, it's also free with no microtransactions and no room for microtransactions, so that is always a bonus. Thank you so much, Konami. You, but also thank you. Now, my first question when I began playing through this game was, where is the Silent Hill aspect of this game? I know Silent Hill doesn't always have to take place in Silent Hill, but where in the genetic makeup of The Short Message will we find vestiges of Silent Hill? And I will say they are here. You might have to look for them, and you might have to have a fair bit of experience with the series to find them, but they are absolutely here. And we'll get into exactly what those things are. There's not going to be any spoiler content in this video, as the game came out yesterday night. So I'm not going to give you too much and spoil anything, but I will give you kind of a brief rundown and a summary of what's going on in this game. So it's a very short experience, clocking in at just about 2 hours for me, and from what I can tell, that's about the average time most people spend in the game. The story follows a teenager named Anita as she looks for her friend Maya after being lured to an abandoned building that doubles as a kind of artist squat, and the days reset at the end of each chapter. Now, don't let that push you away if you're not really into the whole days resetting in the same environment kind of cycle, because I know I'm not really into that kind of thing, but it's done in this game in a way that I think really works, and for it being a 2-hour free game, there's no reason for you to not play it. The game's subject matter is definitely dark and can be potentially triggering if you are particularly sensitive to subjects like bullying and trauma and abuse and all that kind of stuff. But look, man, it's Silent Hill, and if those things weren't present, then would it really even be a Silent Hill game? They really do go hard on the like, hey, don't hurt yourself thing, as you're given a message before and after each chapter that links to mental health services and crisis line, which is probably smart on their part. They're definitely not trying to catch any of that 13 reasons why heat. And they do delve quite a bit into bullying and abuse in a way that I thought was done really well and with a lot of care. I felt like this game, while perhaps maybe not feeling like the most Silent Hill game in the world, was delivered with a real sense of earnesty and artistic craftsmanship. And I think mentioning these things is especially important, as the target audience of this game, I would imagine, are younger people, young teenagers. They're trying to get new people, bring new life into the series. And let's be real, if you're trying to get a new audience into Silent Hill, you're gonna go for people who are young and have emotional problems. So I mean, hey, they know what they're going for. They know who's into these games, and they're definitely making it happen. There are definitely some lines of dialogue that some people might see as cringe or, overly angsty, but it's following an angsty teenager. And I think that the level of cringe was perfect. It's the angst is on point in a completely realistic way. It's not too much. It's not annoying. It is just like that exact level of, like, for example, there's a section in the game where Anita reads a note about systemic failure, and she says something along the lines of like, that's all adults are, slaves to the system. Like, that is exactly the level of cringe that is completely realistic from a teenager's viewpoint. And I really liked Anita as a character, and I liked her following her journey of, looking for her friend and finding all of these things and learning all of these things. And then, of course, because it's a Silent Hill game, things start to become more about her own trauma and her own life, and more of that is revealed as you play through the game. And yeah, I'm not gonna get too far into that right now, but it's good. And that brings me to, like, what is Silent Hill about? Silent Hill, the short message. And we do have plenty of them, and we've got shame and guilt, right? Those are some of the two biggest things. We've got repressed memories, we've got puzzles, we've got fences, and we've got fog. So the gang's all here. And that's not even to mention the horrifying atmosphere, which is done beautifully. Like, I really do think this game is pretty good. I'm really pleasantly surprised with how things shaped out. Now, a few things that I will mention that I'm not particularly fond of revolve primarily around gameplay. Motion blur being number one. Motion blur in this game is really gnarly. It was the first, even though it's only 2 hours long, I was still finding myself like closing my eyes if I had to make a 180-degree turn. So the motion blur is not amazing. Frame rate is a bit choppy, especially in sections where you're running away from the enemy character in the game. Turning, and like if you watch the camera as you turn, it's real choppy. The frame rates are not amazing in those sections, but those are really the only two things that I have to say negatively about this game. And the chase sequences that I mentioned earlier are really amazing, specifically at first. Like, the first chase sequence is cool and I liked it. The second chase sequence was legitimately insane. Like, I was legitimately terrified, like white knuckling my controller as I figured out they're all like running puzzles. You're trying to get away from the enemy, and whether that means you have to take them like around a roundabout and lure them away from the door that you're trying to get through, or you're just trying to get away from them, whatever the case may be. The running puzzles are really cool and they're done really well, and they are legitimately stunning. However, by the time you get to the end of the game, the running puzzles have completely exhausted me, and I'm done. Like, I'm ready to just be done with them. I didn't know this was just going to be a 2-hour game as I was playing through it. So by the time I got to like the third one, I was like, oh God, is this going to be something that we're just going to be doing this entire game? But then as soon as I felt that way, the game was over. So it's really not that much of an issue when the length is so short. And there are lots of things to celebrate about this game. I mean, there are visuals in this game that just had my jaw on the floor. There are sequences in this game that are just stunning, man. They really did a beautiful job with a lot of the presentation of this game in a way that I just find impressive and makes me very optimistic about what's going to come next. As far as puzzles go, I think there's maybe only one or two like real puzzles in the game. Really only one that sticks out in my mind, and I loved it. It was legitimately one of my favorite puzzles in a Silent Hill game. I don't know why, and I don't know if it's just recency bias, but there is one puzzle in a school hallway that it really tickled my brain, and figuring it out was really just exciting. Like, I just felt like it was, I don't know, I liked it. It was really well done. There are some other things that I would love to talk about, but I just don't want to talk about yet because it's so fresh. So maybe we'll revisit down the line. Let me know, leave it in the comments if you guys want to see more of this. And I'm really curious to know if anybody would want to see more of this because I worry that the shelf life of this game isn't going to be super long because it's a really short game. It's a 2-hour narrative experience that's on rails for the most part. And I feel like those games generally don't live in the ecosystem for very long, which is, I'm assuming, why they're going to be putting out more of these. But who knows, man? This could be the start of something great. They really gave us something remarkable here, and while it's not my favorite thing in the franchise, and I doubt it'll be the favorite of many, I do think the direction they're taking could be something worth cautious optimism, especially after what they did to us with Silent Hill Ascension, after which seeing free game on this one really gave me pause. But thankfully there's, like I said, no microtransactions and no room for them. So that all being said, it looks like this is a direction Silent Hill is likely going to be taking more often, or at least one direction the series will be taking, as Konami has confirmed we're going to be getting quite a bit of the new Silent Hill content between the Silent Hill 2 remake, Silent Hill F, which seems like it could be cool. Series producer Motoi Okamoto, I'm such a fucking idiot. Motoi Okamoto confirmed in a statement that the game is only the first part of what he's calling a wider series revival. Whether or not the majority of new content will be short stories, who's to say, but I'm definitely interested, and with the fans of this series being as thirsty as we are for fucking anything new and good in the Silent Hill franchise, I don't think Short Message was amiss, and I think this could be cool. Like, yeah, it's an odd offering, sure, and it's not obviously a Silent Hill game, but Silent Hill has always been a home for experimentation and out-of-the-box thinking, so I really can't say that this is outside the norm for the series, and yeah, I'm looking forward to it, man. So that's it. That's really all I got for you. Not a long game, so can't be a super long review, but those are my thoughts on Silent Hill Short Message, and if you guys are interested in more from me, please like and subscribe. Like I said, I'm playing through every horror game released on the PS2, and I'm going to be doing plenty of other like PS1, PS2 horror content, as well as modern horror content. So that's it for me today. Thank you so much for checking out Mortuary Gaming. I'll smell you later.